Hey guys, this is Amy Smythe Harris and with RTI and Urban Provision Realtors. Just wanted to talk about 10 things all newcomers should do online. When I say newcomers, whether you're new to real estate or kind of getting back in the business or just getting back to, oh, okay, maybe I should do things a little bit differently than what has been working in the past. So this kind of hits every one of us on the spectrum. So, number one, and I'm a big believer in this, is create a marketing plan, a social media marketing plan, rebranding yourself, becoming hyper local. We actually have a segment on RATI about social media marketing and how to do it the correct way. I am a virtual real estate broker in Texas, 6 offices, and the majority of all the marketing I do is all on social media. So, but I created a marketing plan on how to get there and look at my marketing budget and figure out what I'm going to use it for. So, create a marketing plan. And when I say that, it's going to be specific for, are you going to work hyper local? Are you going to work a niche market? What is going to be the best for you? And any one of us on the team can help you decide if you want like a one-on-one consult of how to develop that. So let me just kind of give you an overview of quickly how I strategized is I identified my target market as more engineer type A's, engineers, attorneys, and accountants. So my marketing plan is kind of structured to them. But then I have what I call the mommy bloggers that are people that are online all the time, but they're also very active in the community in real life. So PTA people, the let's call them the soccer moms, soccer dads, whatever you want to call them, and work with them as well on a online offline presence. So I really strategize to that target market because that's my target market. So when you create a marketing plan, number one, you have to find out what your brand is going to be, and I think before that, you have to figure out your target market. Is it going to be luxury homes? Is it going to be first-time home buyers? Is it going to be, um, let's say, pilots, which is big in our area? What's your target market? And then create a marketing plan behind that. And remember, understand the difference between branding and advertising and what you need for dollar return. Um, and are you wanting to pay for lead generations or not? So this should be all part of your marketing plan that you structure out. Again, not my decision. It's up to you how you run your business. So create a marketing plan, and heavily on that should be your social media plan of how are you going to present yourself on LinkedIn, Facebook, let's say Twitter, any of the social media platforms that you choose to work on. So that's the biggest thing is set your plan in place, and then the online presence is going to dictate what you're going to do. Here's the other thing I'm going to say, and it may upset some people, but just trying to be real with you guys is your marketing plan for your own individual business as an independent contractor may be different than what your broker wants. So have those conversations with your broker, talk with them about it, and come to a conclusion that works best for you. Make sure that you're comfortable with them. I know that when I started in the business, it was 20 something years ago, and so we were taught a lot of things differently, and all of us just followed the broker's advice because we didn't know any different. After looking back on it, is I spent a lot of money on stuff that did not reap the rewards. So ask the questions, ask the return on investments, and make sure that you're comfortable with that. So next thing I want to give you guys an idea on, again, create the marketing plan. We have a whole section on that on the RETI website. So next thing I want to talk about is some of you that may be newer to the business, or even if you're experienced in the business, you have not created an online presence that makes you look like an expert. Even though you're getting a lot of referrals if you're what I call a seasoned agent, online doesn't look like that, or new agents don't look like a seasoned expert because they're new. So some ideas that you can do is number one, finish out your online profile. So like your Zillow profile, your Trillia profile. And I apologize, I'm congested right now. And your Realtor.com profile and any association profiles that you're affiliated with that are have an online presence, as well as your Google profile and if you're using Yahoo as well. So any online social media profiles need to be completed to the fullest extent. Yelp, if you're a foodie, if you are a Twitter, those need to be updated or revisited. So on my to-do list this week is to um, update my Twitter bio profile, if you will, so that it's a little bit more updated. So when they are Googling you, they see, okay, they look like an expert. Another way to do that is being able to do just mini, even if they're self-induced videos. When I say self-induced, like selfie videos, organically produced videos about maybe market conditions for your neighborhood. Maybe they are about things that are coming up in your neighborhood. Even if they're organically produced, they'll show up on the Google search engines if you load them right on YouTube, which is another section I'm going to talk about. So the goal is when somebody searches for you on Google, even if been given you your name by a lot of your past clients, they're still going to Google you. So you want to look as professional as possible. And the more you have your name updated on there, more you have your name on blog posts, the more you have your name on your YouTube channel, the it makes you look like more of an expert, even if you don't feel like that. I remember being new and going, "Oh my God, I'm not good in my area." So when you're trying to look like an expert, let's just go for like one scenario. Let's say you want to concentrate on your own local neighborhood. And maybe your neighborhood's, let's say, 300 to 400 people, or maybe it's a master plan community. So I'm going to pick on my neighborhood or my development community, which is a master plan community. It's like number 2 in the country that I live in. So I would do a video about the neighborhood as I'm, showing, and I would talk about maybe that this is great about this neighborhood. This is this is what this neighborhood looks like. And I'm headed to the YMCA or I'm headed to this park. Those are the type of things that you can do. And then when you put them on YouTube, you'll look more like the lifestyle of the neighborhood. So if you're not wanting to do videos, which is totally understandable, but if you're doing blog posts, which we're going to talk about later, if you're blogging about things that are going on in your hyper local market, maybe it's a 4th of July parade, maybe it's a Thanksgiving turkey trot, and pictures of those. Those are great things to make you look like an expert in the lifestyle or area that you are trying to sell. So again, look like an expert. So if they're researching you, number one, finish out the profiles for yourself. That helps this thing. Also, another thing that looks like an expert is go ahead and ask your client for reviews, whether you're doing Zillow reviews or Yelp reviews or Google reviews. Ask your clients to do a review on you. That will also help you look more like an expert, whether you're seasoned or new to the business. So, number 3, sound like an expert. Oh my gosh, I so remember when I was a new agent, is everybody told me to knock on doors. And I was so scared to death about knocking on doors because I was afraid they were going to ask me questions and I was new and I didn't sound like I was an expert on this. So, a couple of tips that I found on making sure you sound like you're an expert. And this is kind of tacky a little bit, and some people will take it a different way. But one of the things I did when I was not newer to the business, but when I was really, really working my sphere of influence more diligently than I had in the past, and I was getting involved in more local efforts like junior league and cheer parent things, those type of things. So what I would do is these people that I kept seeing on a repeated basis, whether you're involved in golfing, golf leagues, tennis leagues, let's say whatever it may be, that's an offline and not necessarily online. What I would do is in our MLS, and you can do this on almost every MLS that's out there, is I would search the friends' names or the associates' names that were in these groups in their tax records, and I still do this, and find out where they live, and then knowing their neighborhood, I would set up a what we call in our MLS client gateway, and it would automatically notify me any new listings, pendings, and solds in their neighborhood, and it would just email me. So next time I saw them at an event or a function or a tournament, whatever it may be, I would say, "Oh, by the way, I saw you have a new listing in your neighborhood. Have you had a chance to see it yet?" Well, any neighbor wants to go looky loo and look at their neighbor's house. Or they would realize that I know maybe that area, even though I didn't know that area, I sounded like an expert. Or I would mention, "Oh, I saw, that listing that we talked about last week is now under contract." And so I'd keep them updated. So I'd be the source for them to find out information. Now, I understand that Zillow, TroyandRealtor.com, the consumers are going there too, but by me being able to give more specific about that, I sounded more like an expert to my sphere of influence. Another way that you can sound like an expert, and again, this is up to how you run your business, is like before I would go on a listing presentation, almost all MLSs have an archive of past properties. So when I would research a listing before I went on the appointment, it could have been sold maybe 5 years ago, and I'd pull up the old photos and the old property listing. Most of you always do that. But what I would do to make it sound like I was more of an expert in that neighborhood is I would make a comment to the sellers when I would get there. I was like, "Oh, great. It looks like you changed the dining room wallpaper and you painted it red, let's say." So it sounded like I knew more about the property than I did, even though I had not seen it. So there's little tips and tricks. Another tip that I still use, not as much as I did because I'm at a different stage in my career, is I would pull the tax records for people surrounding their street. So if it's like a huge neighborhood, I would just normally do it to their street. And I'd pull the tax records of the homeowners' names right on their street. So then I would be able to say to them, "Oh, Johnny and um, Chris Smith, da 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 da." And or Chris and Johnny have this same floor plan, and they would think that I would know them even if I didn't know them by pulling out their names. So that's an idea for you sound like an expert when you don't. Here's another sounding like an expert when maybe you don't feel like that. Most of your associations do what we call market reports. And so one thing I do is our market reports in Houston are for all of Houston. So they're video, they're great quality. So I post those out on social media. Great. Reminds my sphere of influence, my 5,000 friends on Facebook, that I'm in real estate. But I would also do more specific. So here's a tip that I still do to this day is I pull months of inventory for my specific area. So if, let's say, somebody stops me in a grocery store and I have my name badge on, "Oh, you're in real estate." The first question they're going to ask is, "Oh, how's the market?" So I can quickly tell them, okay, between three to $400,000 in the Woodlands, we're running 2.1 months of inventory. So it sounds like I know what I'm talking about. It gives them knowledge, or maybe hopefully tells them kind of maybe price point that I work. as well as area I work. So maybe they're not in that price point and not in that area, but I sound like I'm an expert. Because normally the next question out of their mouth is going to be, oh, is that how long houses are staying on the market? And then you can follow up with what months of inventory is. So there's little tips and tricks. I do that I do the first of the month and I run a spreadsheet to for each month. So then I could also follow that question up and say if they're like, oh, da da da, I can say, well, last year at this time we were running 4.3 months of inventory versus 2.1. So the market has, gotten a lot better, even despite what maybe you're seeing in the newspapers. So I sound like an expert, even though I may not be an expert in that area. So that's the little tips and tricks that has worked for me to be able to, because you can't be an expert in every area. Let's be real. But now, if they start asking commercial or something outside my scope, I can immediately sound like an expert and say, I have a person for you. If you'll give me your name, and I actually turn my phone over to them and say, if you'll enter your phone number in there and let me have your phone, I'll put it in there because maybe we're at the grocery store or maybe we're at some event and I put my name in as realtor and then I follow up with a text saying, text me, or here's the name. And so I'll text them immediately at the name of a commercial person, maybe that they needed. So get those pool of resources that maybe you don't have so you can answer those questions. But what I'm finding more engaging right now is getting my number in their phone as well as getting them. So we just kind of exchange phones, and it's been really, because I used to give business cards and would lose them. So just ideas for you. Okay, the tried and true method is doing open houses to get business. Okay, let's be real. I did it when I was new to the business. A lot of agents still do it. It's a beautiful method to get leads. But here's the problem, and it goes back to another thing I'm going to talk about later, is you can get those leads, but if you don't follow up on them, hey, you're going to lose them. So holding open houses. So if you have a good marketing plan in place, you're going to choose open houses that are match your marketing plan. So your target market price point maybe, or if it's luxury, or if it's golf course community or waterfront. Now, talk to your broker. Every state's different, but most of them will allow you to hold an open house on somebody else's listing. But let me clarify this as my disclaimer, is just call that listing agent up and say, hey, Amy, I'm wanting to work this area. I see that you have one listing in here. It doesn't seem like you work the area. Or you don't. Can I hold an open house on your listing? If a agent comes to me and asks to hold an open house on my listing, I'm like, woohoo, yes, because I don't want to hold open houses because I know it does not sell the property majority of the time. But it still satisfies the seller, even though I've told them it doesn't sell houses, but it still makes them feel happy. And another agent, whether they're within my brokerage firm or outside my brokerage firm, it gets them leads. So if you're going to do open houses, an app that's really, really great is called Open Home Pro. Now it's expensive, so I wouldn't recommend it if you're not doing open houses on a regular basis. But have something gimmick-wise, and now watch each state because each state had different rules. So I was in one state said if they sign in, give them an incentive to sign in and do like a drawing. But each state has different rules on drawing, so make sure you know your state's rules. One of my friends, Nicole, new to the business, but not new to real estate, but new to having her own real estate business, has been the open house fanatic. Unbelievably awesome, and she's great at converting them. Partly, I think she converts them so well is because she is very approachable, and that helps as well. And she's not what I call salesy to them, but if it's a higher end home, and she works California market, so if it's a higher end home and she wants, her social object is triathlons. And so people kind of know her. She started kind of doing the biking first. So people know that about her, that she was into cycling. So what she has done, and I thought it was a beautiful idea, especially for the area she works, there's a lot of cyclists, is she will advertise on social media, come to my open house for a drawing to potentially get this new um, bicycle I purchased for you guys. And I don't know what her budget is, but I'm thinking great marketing tool. It fits her social object, which fits along with her social marketing plan. Very great, and she uses social media to get that. So just different ideas. Another open house idea that an agent gave me in my area of town, again, because I don't work open houses like I used to, is they have, and I don't know what they call them, is they're I call them the things that you put in front of auto dealerships, but the blow up little things that float in the wind, not, but they're like little men that look like fingers and they just float. So I can't remember the name. I don't know what they are officially called, but they have it branded with their company logo on them in a different color um, that's known to their company. And so in their area of town is people, even though they may not be wanting to buy or sell, is they come to the open houses just because they've seen that as they've been driving around on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon. And what they're doing is generating a pipeline for future leads. So that's fabulous. Now, again, you have to do what's comfortable. Another open house tip I used to do when I managed an office, our local newspaper came out on a Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday. So we would do a company wide open house on Thursday. So we would have all of our listings, not all of them, but maybe 10 or 15 listings on an open house tour on a Thursday evening, what we call Twilight Tour. It was great because depending on when you do it, fall gets really busy for people with back to school and fall activities. So that's another idea for you guys. So hopefully that gives you some ideas on open houses. So number 5, this is old school, but it still works so beautifully. I have it on the slide that says, keep calm and ask for the business. Now, when I say ask for the business, it can be quite a few different ways. But one of the ways that came to mind for me is what worked when I was getting my business started and still maybe I had to slow down or a lull in my business. Um, and it works for new agents as well, is I would ask other agents in the office, or if you're in a virtual agency like myself, is, hey, I post out about, hey, you know, whatever, XYZ group, I, I'll handle leases, or if anybody has leads that they don't want to work, send them to me. And that is how I would do it virtually. But if I was in the office, how I would do it back in the day is I would ask any agent in the office that maybe was doing, they weren't maybe the top producer, but they maybe were maybe middle of the road. I would ask them, I'm like, hey, I see you have property time on Thursday from 3 to 5. Um, if you need somebody to pick up that shift and you don't want to take it, I'll take it for you. And I found a lot of times by asking that, the middle of the road producers or top producers in the company wouldn't want to take away from their day to do a property time, but they knew they had to get it covered. A lot of brokers rules or you have to get your property time. So I would get a lot of just property desk by just asking. And then again, back in the old days, I would just do a flyer in the office, and we had a like bulletin board near the coffee room, and I would say, I'll take any leases if you don't want them. But you can do the same thing whether you're in the office or virtually, is just find maybe one or two agents that you admire, or maybe they've helped you in the office, whether virtually or in the office, that you are like, ooh, um, maybe they can handle everything. And so ask them, like, listen, I can, just so you know, I don't, we can work out a referral system but I'll take any of your leads that you don't want to handle. And the second side of the ask for the business is I was taught in the real estate business is you ask for the business through the whole thing, through the whole transaction. Let me clarify that. I will tell you, as coming out of the car business, that I don't do, because in the car business, you always keep asking for the business through the whole transaction. And as a consumer, it offended me. So as a real estate agent, I don't do that. But there's still that philosophy out there, which is there's no good, bad, or anything about it. If it works for your marketing plan, do it. Is keep asking them through the transaction. Do you know anybody that wants to list or sell, or buy? Da da da. Refer them to me. Some brokers say ask them at the closing table. I My philosophy is I ask for the business because I am passive on it. I'm more subliminal marketing now, because I don't want to be the top producer. That I want to still have a life, but I still want to make six figures plus. So I and I also know where my balance is in business. So I don't go and hammer all my clients. Give me referrals, give me referrals. I focus on developing a relationship and a network, whether it's during the transaction or after, and hope to goodness they feel comfortable to give me the business. But ask for the business, whether it's your clients, your sphere of influence, or other agents, because believe it or not, there's a lot of agents out there that can't handle everything they leads they get, and they want to refer it to another agent and make money off of it. So the next thing on that is Facebook groups. So on Facebook groups, and not just Facebook groups, let me just say in general, groups on Facebook or LinkedIn or any groups you're on general offline are a great way to get business. What I call them sphere of influence. So one, I create a ton of Facebook groups. I used to do that as a farming technique in Facebook before Nextdoor came out. But I still use my old Facebook group to network, as well as Nextdoor. So here's another way I'm using Facebook groups is I'm unfortunately in charge of a homecoming for my daughter and the homecoming weekend, and organizing 30 teenagers to go to homecoming. So I now have a plethora of parents that are at my disposal, if you will, or getting to know me and how well I organize. So we created a Facebook group just for this homecoming group, and so the parents and kids can see what's going on. So I'm using that as a way to network for now and in the future, as well as those future kids when they get out of college, that they will remember me organizing things. Another way I use Facebook groups is I'm not a foodie. I will well admit that I am not a foodie. But I know in my area, there's a whole bunch of restaurants that are popping up, and I don't know. I don't know what's coming on the restaurants. B, I don't know. I don't have if they're good or not. C, I don't have time to go check them out. And D, I'm not a foodie, so it's not that big of a deal for me. But invariably, I will get the question asked from a client going, "Hey, I see there's this Sunshine, taco place. Should we go? What do you think about it?" And they're, newly past clients, and they ask me because they've moved to it. So I use the Facebook groups for that. Is I find groups in areas that are interesting to me, that I know clients are, and I engage in that group, ask questions, and I probably may not have an input in it because I don't have the knowledge. But if you do have the knowledge, then and you're not don't come across like you're selling real estate. But the more you engage in those groups, the more that you develop that relationship online, and then they'll want to. And then a lot of times those groups, and I'm speaking of foodie groups, they'll have like some foodie meetup, whatever. Speaking of meetup, another great way for groups to meet up and expand your sphere of influence is meetup.com. Excuse me, meetup.com. So I tell people that are maybe new to the area or don't have a huge sphere of influence, or trying to tap into a market that they hadn't worked before but now wanting to work, go to meetup.com. So let's say you've picked up hiking all of a sudden and you want to find other people to hike with. Or maybe it was salsa dancing and you want to find other salsa people. Those you want those to become your sphere of influence, but you don't know how to find them. And maybe there's not a Facebook group that's local for you. Meetup.com is a fabulous way as a group to find sphere of influence as well as to use your social object and expand your sphere of influence. Highly recommend it for anybody out there. All right, number 7. This is where I will tell you I'm to blame just as much as most of the real estate agents out there is follow up, follow up, follow up. So let's say I get a lead on a listing, and I'm going to give you a real life example that just happened to me. Um, got a lead on a listing that's already under contract on Saturday, and so 2 days ago. I'm headed down to the bay to do sailing lessons, and I can't. I could put them in my contact database, by my iPhone or iPad, but I was kind of distracted. And they want like automatic emails sent to them if something, because what they're looking for is very hard to find. So the why I say this is I told them I can't set you up until tonight. Now I put them in my CRM database, but I didn't do the final, what I call final follow up to get the automatic emails going on new listings until Sunday night because I had 2 days of doing sailing classes. So make sure you follow up with them. Also, if you set up automatic emails with people for new listings, do a touch with them somehow, some way, whatever works for you. But I find a lack of follow up with people um, is bad and for us, but as well as past clients. A lot of times we don't follow up with just our past clients. Now, I'm going to take it one step further on that is we talked about letting people know, ask for the business. Ask for the business from people that you know. So, gosh, I hate saying this on video or on a webinar, but I'm going to just be transparent with you guys. Is recently I found out that one of my daughter's friends, parents that have known me for a lot of years, not close, not, we're more like distant acquaintances, but the girls are close. And I found out they sold their house and bought another house without using me. And now the mother and I have become close. She's like, I wish I would have known you were a real estate agent. And I thought to myself, 20 something years in the business, where did I mess up? Because I didn't let them know, I didn't ask for the business. And so I go back to that subliminal marketing is sometimes that works great, but sometimes you need to be a little bit more in the face. So make sure you follow up with people. So another follow up I do, and sounds quirky, is when somebody purchases a home, I ask them, do you want to know what the market is going to be like in the area you just purchased? So then I set them up on the MLS to get automatic notifications on active pendings and sold in their neighborhood. And that way it keeps my name in front of them. And it's a good follow-up system besides that. Another follow-up system I use is I will tell you that I sometimes forget to remind clients on certain things. So I realized that a couple years ago. So I do, there's a couple things you can use. There's a program that you can, it's a plugin called Boomerang. So if I send out an email to somebody and I can set it up that if they haven't responded in an hour, that an automatic email goes back out to them to remind them. So that's a good follow-up for me. I can also use IFTTT, so if then If then this. So I can set it up. If this happens, then I need this to happen, and it creates an automatic follow up. I also can use it's called Send Later for Mac people that are on Mac Mail that automatically do it where it sends an email later to them. Maybe I'm thinking about it in the middle of the night, but I don't want it to go out now. And another follow up app I use is called Badger, Badger. So I can set up text messages for things that they need to do during the transaction. All right, so let's go to number 8. YouTube. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. How to look like you are awesome at everything, and especially if you like being in front of camera, is YouTube. So these can be selfies. They can be done in the studio. I highly recommend you set up a YouTube channel. Again, if it fits your marketing plan that you have already designed, set up a YouTube channel. So one of the things I set up my YouTube channel for is FAQs, frequently asked questions, and have pre-recorded videos for those. I have a introductory of me for buyers. I have an intro of me for sellers. Since I'm broker, I have an intro of me for a recruiting message, if you will. But then I also have playlists for people that are wanting to know about my community. Even though I haven't created the video, I've looked on YouTube and created playlists of things about my community. So if people are asking me about my community, they are there. Um, YouTube channel is fabulous because and if you do it correctly and you do the right tags on there, then Google's going to pick it up because remember, Google owns YouTube. So if somebody's Googling your name, then on page 1, a video of you will show up. Why I bring up YouTube is I think it's a lost art in real estate. We've said for maybe 8 years now that video is the next big thing, and agents are not embracing it like we thought. And the reason why it's hitting me again hard is I did it for a long, long time, and then I dropped off of it. And then my marketing plan for 2017 is to really hit my YouTube again hard. The reason why I'm bringing it up to your attention is we are, as a consumer, we are thinking about purchasing a boat, a sailboat. So my husband and I have been scouring YouTube for people that are doing the adventure that we want to experience. So we found quite a few blogs, YouTube channels, and as well as blogs. But we watch the YouTube channels that have a series of what's happening each week or what stop they're at. You can do the same, and it's kind of almost what I call reality TV, but addictive. Um, you can do the same thing in real estate. What's happening in Austin, Texas this week? And you could do a YouTube channel with just what's happening in Austin that week. So Austin City Limits was just happening. You can do video of that. And here we are and do selfie videos. There's a lot of cool things you can do because remember, consumers are searching not just for homes, but for lifestyle. So to me, that's a big thing. So in correspondence with videos is a blog. So follow it up with a blog. So it goes back to the social media marketing plan. And again, if you do the RTI videos, or excuse me, the videos on our webinars, talk about blogging is crucial. So to me, blogging is the hub, and YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, those are the spokes. So you would have a blog that's your website, and you would post on it, and then you would send it out to all the other social medias. The more you blog, the better your search engine optimization is. Again, that's a whole nother topic that we talk about in RETI, but blog about what you're passionate about, your social object, and your community. Don't just blog about real estate because people aren't going to come to your blog just to read real estate. most consumers come because they want to know about an area, what's to do. Top 10 lists are fabulous on a blog. Top 10 places to eat, top 10 things to do in Akron, Ohio, whatever it may be. So please, and the more you blog, if somebody's searching on Google, even though they're not searching for real estate, they're going to see that they get to your blog, and then they see, oh, you're in real estate. And if you have other interesting blog articles, they're going to come to them. The other thing on blogging is if you do a blog post, and then what we do is we do a blog post, and then we put it on our Facebook business page, and we do a boost post. We do a boost post, and we pay a very minimal amount of money, but we do a boost post so that way, two things. We want likes on our Facebook business page to increase those. And number two is we want more traffic to our website. So it depends on what you're wanting to do and if it fits your, again, social media marketing plan or any marketing plan. But that's why we will do a boost post is number one, to kind of see, we'll do a target market audience that we do it to. We want to see the analytics on it. We want to see how many likes we get from it. And then we look at our website and see the Google analytics on it to see, was that worth paying maybe $25 for it, kind of thing. So look at blogs. Again, to me, a blog is your website nowadays. And the final thing, be authentically you. And I don't have a trademark on this. This was not my design, obviously, but grabbed it off the internet. So again, watch for trademark rules on that and the copyright rules. But I think the biggest thing on your online presence as well as your offline presence is be you. Whatever you showcase online about yourself needs to be you in person. So if you're quirky, online, then you need to be quirky in person. If you're quiet online, and then somebody finds you like crazy, like off the wall in person, is that really you? So be you and be transparent. Now, again, you don't have to share every part of your life online. You don't need to. But the things that you are comfortable sharing with that allows somebody to connect with you is going to become that social object or the crucial element for developing those relationships online. It's no different than online versus offline. I don't want to talk to an insurance person just because I met him at a cocktail party and he sells insurance. I want to talk to him about his kids, his wife, his life, what's his interests. It's the same online. So be you online and offline because that will create what I call the authentic you. Hope that helps you guys and look forward to seeing you guys at any RTI event or on any RTI webinar. Talk to you soon. Bye.